Hey, this is Brian with Proxilive, and I'm doing a tutorial setup. This should essentially get you started on how to use the Proxiguard system in a very simple way, and this should cover the major, basics on the system on what have clients have really liked over the years, and what I suggest as well as far as setup goes. So the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to click on Company up top, and then we're going to click on Check Guards rather, and then we're going to click on Guards here again. Now here, you're going to see the names are generic. This is what the names will be when you first have the account. You're going to want to double click on this, change the name to whatever you'd like, and then click confirm or save at the bottom. The rest of the stuff here, if you want, you can look at it, but I can assure you that for the most part, you won't have to interact with this unless you really want to do something very specific. The only thing that I recommend here is just changing the guard name and then clicking save, just like this. And then it'll say update was successful and you're good to go. So once that's done, we're going to click on company and we're going to click on checkpoints. Now you're going to see I already have one named test, but we're going to double click on this checkpoint again and we're going to change the name to something. So we're going to say test 1 as an example. And then this is the important part. You can skip all this other stuff for now. The important part is you add a client. Client 1 is preferred here, and then site 1. This is important because um, you're going to use this to actually do stuff on the client section, which I'll show in a bit. But you definitely want to make sure when you're doing these checkpoints to assign the client and the site here. So we're going to click save. It should say something like this, checkpoints to save, and then we can exit out. And what you're going to see now is that this has the association with the client and the name has now been changed to what I put. So now we're going to go into clients here. Now here, you're going to see very similar to the guard section, 2 clients. We're going to double click on client 1. And here's where you're going to add all the extra stuff. So the only things that are really necessary here are name and email. For the sake of the, the demonstration, I'm not going to change any of these names, but essentially, as I said, you can add as much as you want here. The only important thing is that you make sure that there's something in the name and something in the email. For login credentials, if you're not going to create a login for your client to see, make sure to uncheck this, otherwise it's going to give you issues. And then the site, once again, if you want to change the name, you just click on it and click edit or double click on it, whatever you prefer. But that's totally up to you. I'm going to leave this all generic for now because it's the easiest thing. Now, the other important thing here is the scheduled email report. This is usually best done when you actually have all your checkpoints set up. But for the sake of the argument, or for the sake of the demonstration here, I'm going to show you how a really quick basic scheduled report looks like. So we're going to click add, and we're going to name this daily report here. And you're going to see that we're going to leave the type to client events report. And then this first run is really important. This first run is going to show when, or rather, it's going to tell you when the first, sending of the report is going to happen. I generally suggest you do next day, somewhere early in the morning. So what I normally tell clients is something like 7 in the morning the next day. And the reason for this is so we can do this. So we're going to do Wednesday 0. So we're just going to click on the button here. It's going to do this. It's going to automatically put 00 on Wednesday here. And it's going to automatically put this. Now, if you wanted to match this, you can go here and click 7, but you can also leave it this way and then just put 2359, which is what it normally automatically does. And that's perfectly fine. So we're going to leave it that way. We're going to click add. And there we go. Now it's added. And what's going to happen is it's going to send a report automatically based on what you have scanned that's related to the client to any email that's on the client section. So in this case, it would send to this at the moment, but you can actually add as many emails as you want by just doing this and then putting a comma and then adding another one, for example, like that. So that's it. That's how you do it. We're going to click confirm and the client section is done here. So now that you've got that, I'm going to assume at this point you have all your checkpoints set up and everything. I'm going to show you how you actually log in to the phone so you can actually start scanning. Oh, actually, one last thing real quick. I'm going to do an incident here. So we're going to click on company and incidents. And what we're going to do here is we're going to add an incident, and we're just going to call this one test for the sake of the argument here, or for the sake of the demonstration rather. Um, and the important thing here is that you want at least one incident here for the incident feature, which I'm going to show real quick. So we're going to come back here and on Events Browser, and we are going to enter one of these IDs. So we're going to enter as guard1 here. And as you can see, my phone on the right is mirrored, so I'm going to be able to enter the ID here. And let me make sure, I think this is correct. Yeah, so by default, usually there's going to be no pin, so usually don't add a pin. Just put in the ID. If you do get any issues, you might have a pin set up, and for that, you just need to go back to guards and check that. But yeah, otherwise you should be able to be logged in just like me. You might see a little prompt at the beginning showing you that it's like your first time logging in or anything like that. But that's only on your first installation. You can skip that. Anyway, so this is the main screen here. What you're going to want to do here is we're going to click Start, and it's going to take you to this page here. Now, what you're obviously going to want to do is scan. Now, I don't actually have the checkpoint on me at the moment, so what I'm going to do is I'm virtually scanning it, but this is effectively going to be the same thing. What you're going to want to do is click the scan button. It's going to pop up the camera. You're going to, there we go. It's going to scan just like that, and it's going to say event successfully submitted to the service. So now that we've scanned the checkpoint, we can go to guard 1, and you can see here that it's, the scan's right there with the name and everything. Now, the second thing I'm going to show you here, and this is probably another one of the important features that people like using, is the incident feature. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on incident on the phone here, and we're going to select the test incident. You might have a larger list depending on how many you added, or you might have nothing, in which case you do want to go back and add an incident like I showed you here in this video. Otherwise, you won't be able to actually use this part. But what's important about this is the send report by email and then the assign checkpoint section here. So what's important is that you got to make sure to actually check mark this and then click assign checkpoint. Whether if you use NFC, just follow the instructions here. But if you use QR code, just click on the QR code button and then just aim it there. There you go. And now it's assigned to the actual incident. And the important thing about this is that that's going to allow the incident to be automatically sent basically a few minutes after this incident is done to the client. So I'm going to show you an example. I won't be able to get that email because I don't own that email. It's like a different thing. But I will be able to show you how you actually set up an incident. So how this is going to work is that you're actually going to, um, see a lot of these buttons. And the main thing that I tell people to do is camera. So take a few pictures. We can do that one just as an example. Put in any text you need, and I'll just say test, and then maybe add a signature. Those are the main three things that people use. More specifically, the picture and the text, really. But you can also add the 30 seconds of sound, which I didn't show here because it's, like I said, since it doesn't pop up on the report anyway, most people don't tend to use it, and then the video as well. If you do want to use these, you have to manually actually go into the system and pull it. But just to condense this, just pictures and the text is going to be added. So we're going to add this to the incident. There we go. And then we're going to send this out. And what you're going to see now is I'm going to go back into the events browser here. And you're going to see that my incident and event, my incident and MME are sent at the same time, so you know they're linked. And I'm going to double click here, and you're going to see all the information here. So this is where the video and sound would be if you added that. But like I said, on the automated email, you won't get something like that. And actually, I could probably show you how that works. So I can show you how that looks like. And here, so I can show you how the email will look very similar to this. So this is from a different demonstration account I have, but I'm going to double click on it, and you're going to see something like this. So you can see that I have just have two pictures. I'm taking up to 10 pictures, but it's effectively the same thing. And so that's how it'll look like. Um, as you can see, it'll tell you what who the person is, or rather who the client is, and who what checkpoint was assigned. It's important to note that even though not everyone is going to be near a checkpoint, for automated sending of reports, you do need a checkpoint, so keep that in mind. The MME on the phone here is effectively the same thing as the incident. I don't recommend using the MME over the incident for one major purpose, and that's automated report sending. The multimedia does not support that at the moment, so just keep that in mind. If you do value automated reporting, just do everything under the incident section and follow the steps I showed you here. And then the test function is not particularly, you know, commonly used. But if you do need to test out that the internet's working and that stuff is actually sending and you're not near a checkpoint, or you want to ping the location, because that also works like a ping for the location, you can do that. And like I said, anything you do will actually show up on the screen here. And then we can click end, and then there you go. And that's basically like a simple setup on how the guard is going to use it and how the managerial side uses it. Obviously, like I said, if you have the scheduled email report to send out, you would be getting basically an email at the time instructed there, showing you exactly what's been done during the day. But that's pretty much it. So if you have any questions about it, just please let us know.